Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 1, Episode 5, Babel. In this episode, an artificial virus which messes up people's language, which is called aphasia, that runs across the station, leaving everyone pretty much shafted, apart from Quark and Odo, and they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, they always seem to have fun. I continue to enjoy the interactions between those two.
Yeah, they get a lot of screen time, and I think it's quite fair because they are the most interesting pair of characters on the show, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I share that opinion, at least this far into the series. Their interactions have more depth than anyone else so far.
If we both agree, that means it is objective fact.
Okay. Now that I know.
So, good episode, bad episode, what do you think?
I thought it was pretty good. We had another mystery on our hands, just like the previous episode. And also like the previous episode, we started off with a tone that did not match the rest of the episode. So this one was kind of silly in the beginning where O'Brien is, shucks, everyone wants me to do stuff and complains at me. And then he's almost dead. He almost gets dead.
They're not very nice to him. Do they expect him just to work 24 hours a day and not sleep or anything?
Yeah, no one offers him
Cisco just yells at him.
A break or extra help.
And then Kira makes a joke about how, the docking rings are naffed or something. And he just looks at her like, oh God, my life.
I thought, because of the way it started, that this would be an O'Brien episode. Because we had a Kira episode, we had an Odo episode. And I thought, okay, this is our O'Brien episode. But it didn't work out that way, which I thought was too bad. I want to explore him more.
Oh, O'Brien episodes, they are rough times. But no, it's an ensemble episode. Everyone got their bit in, I guess.
Yeah, and then Odo became an action hero.
That alien guy was just so stupid.
Wait, which one? Who are you talking about?
The really stupid one. So everyone's dying or about to die of a brand new virus, and he's like, yeah, but can I just leave, please?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, just turns his engines on.
But you don't understand. I really want to go.
Oh, well, when you put it like that, sure, let's just release this potentially incredibly dangerous virus to the universe. There was a good line by Odo when that guy's ship sort of explodes a little bit, and you see it on the view screen, and he says, his fire control systems don't appear to be working.
Yeah.
He could have said, oh, it's on fire, which is really obvious. If you look at the screen, it's just fire everywhere.
That's Odo for you.
He actually got a bit ruffled in this episode. He was pretty on edge towards the end when half the station almost exploded.
Yeah, that's a fair circumstance to be slightly panicked. He was in the ops room by himself trying to maintain things, and then that's the only time that his composure was disturbed.
So you can get him worked up, it just takes quite a bit of effort. The thing I liked best about this episode, and it's one that I've remembered from previous times watching Deep Space Nine, is seeing Quark in ops running things. The look on his face is just fantastic.
No, he's so giddy. And he loves teasing Odo. Oh yeah, I've seen it done a million times, or whatever it was.
I've witnessed it.
Yeah, there we go. He didn't actually have
Any experience?
Any experience, yeah.
Yeah, he's like rubbing his hands together. It's just soaking it in, loving every moment of it.
Yeah, he knew Odo had no other choice, so might as well have fun with it.
I think it adds something to his character because he's been a bit of a grumpy guy. Odo's grumpy, but Odo and Quark have had a lot of screen time together, and they've both been quite grumpy. But this showed Quark can really enjoy himself in the right circumstance. Here's a question. What did you think of their quarantine sort of plans?
It was good that they didn't let anyone leave, including that persistent guy.
Okay, that was good. Was there anything else good about their quarantine plans?
No, that's why I let off with that.
Okay. Yeah.
No one could leave, but you could all just walk around and talk to whomever and don't take any precautions, even though you're a doctor and you're seeing these people.
There's no face masks or isolation or anything. They just have everyone tending to the incredibly sick people. And Odo comes in and says, Quark, you should maybe close the bar. And he's like, don't worry about it. Oh, okay.
It was a very relaxed quarantine.
Which kind of that doesn't make sense. It's not really quarantine, it's just sort of guidelines.
Maybe that's why he really didn't want that guy to leave. It's just, hey, the rest of our procedures are totally inadequate, so you can't leave.
They don't want people to find out what a mess they made of this.
Yeah, if word gets out, then no one will want to visit Deep Space Nine.
No one will want to visit if it's full of dead people and virus.
That can be taken care of.
Oh, jeez.
Aside from not taking quarantine precautions, Bashir didn't have any outwardly stupid moments in this.
Well, he was still a bit of a kind of noob. Especially when he tells Cisco his son is sick, and then Cisco comes back and he's like, I looked at every DNA creation system. And he's like, come on, Bashir, just tell me what it is. Oh, Bajorn's made it. He's like gloating about how he did such great research on it.
Oh, okay.
And then he also
don't recall that bit.
He also said he wanted to meet the person that made the virus to Cisco as his son was dying of it.
Oh yeah, didn't he call him a genius or?
The virus is a work of genius,
okay.
Which is a fair thing to say.
He would admire that, though. That makes sense.
Well, I think anyone could appreciate the fact that it's a very well constructed virus, whilst simultaneously acknowledging that it's not a good thing.
It was weird to me at first when you see the bay where all the people are being kept and they're in beds and coughing, because it wasn't established that the virus did anything other than aphasia at that point, but then they get right into it. Oh, people are coughing and running fevers. But before that line, it's a little weird.
Yeah, but they already had them in beds, didn't they? Well, they would have known. I thought the sort of language mix-up stuff was actually very well done.
Yeah, it reminded me of that video that went viral with that newscaster. It happens to her while on air. Yeah, it never came off as silly.
Must have been difficult for them to write that kind of random gibberish, but give it proper meaning. There was one bit where O'Brien is trying to say something.
Yeah, that was really convincing.
Yeah, he keeps repeating the last bit. It was well done. There's a nice mix of verbs and adjectives and all sorts in there.
And that look of defeat when people realize they're talking gibberish. So sad.
It was strange that it affected O'Brien a little bit at first, and then eventually he got it, but everyone else just got it straight away.
Yeah, that stuck out to me too. He has that one moment, and then he corrects himself, and then no one else had that same sort of moment. It was once you slipped into it, okay, now you're into it for everyone else.
I guess the virus mutates at the speed of plot exposition.
That it is true. It did mutate after it hit O'Brien, then it became airborne.
Yeah, what was the whole point of the plot with Quark replicating stuff? And then he spread it to everyone. And as soon as that plot gets started, and Odo says, "Oh, that's a crime, by the way," then 2 minutes later it's like, "Oh, well, it's airborne, so, whatever."
Yeah, I guess that makes it pointless that Quark did that if it becomes airborne. Well, it would spread more quickly because he did that.
I guess. He never faced repercussions for it.
Yeah, and that's weird considering it's Odo that finds him. And he explicitly says, this is breaking a law or a rule, whatever he says.
He probably forgave him when he helped stop half the station exploding. Maybe that was his hazard
pay. He wanted payment for it.
He wants money as well. He's a Ferengi. He's going to come in with a high offer. I want money and amnesty. And we'll say, well, you can have amnesty for that sort of minor crime.
Yeah, I could see Cisco giving him amnesty for that, and then Odo kind of grumbling about justice.
Why did Cisco fall asleep when he became ill?
It's really tiring when you mix up your words.
So, he always seems kind of tired. So maybe he's just like, okay, I'm infected, that's it, I'm having a sleep.
He couldn't get his caffeine fix. The replicator was off the fritz.
Yeah.
So he was feeling lethargic.
So you're saying he's drinking, 12 coffees a day? Is anyone allowed to sleep on this crew? Do they not have a night crew?
Apparently not.
Well, we know Odo doesn't really sleep much. He does his bucket trick.
It's a pretty good trick. I wish I could do that. I'm envious.
Well, melt for half an hour every day.
Or so. I'm not picky.
But then not have to sleep. That would be pretty good, I guess. I like how Odo was not infected. He was not susceptible to infection by the virus. And presumably Quark was not either. I don't think it's been mentioned. I can't remember if it's mentioned in Next Gen or what, but Ferengi have a different brain structure to other humanoids. They've got 4 quadrants of brain rather than 2 hemispheres.
Do you think that's why he was immune?
Yeah, he even says that Cisco or someone says you shouldn't be in here. When he's hassling the guy, he's going like, "Your money, me."
Oh yeah,
yes,
okay.
Which makes no sense. But he says something like, "Oh, don't knock the Ferengi immune system."
Right. Okay, I forgot about that.
So I think he was completely immune to it. It's just nice that it is clearly Odo was immune to it. He was not going to get it because he's so different in what his life form is to the other guys.
Yeah, I was going to be
That's a good
annoyed
explanation.
if he got infected.
Right, he doesn't have a brain, I guess. He's made of goop.
Yeah, he has a goopy faux brain.
Well, I don't think he has a brain at all. I don't think he has any internal organs.
Right, he's just that goop stuff.
Yeah, so no brain, no aphasia infection.
I forgot why, but Odo calls Rom an idiot, and that was fun to hear. He was just really blunt about it when he's talking with Quark.
Yeah, Quark says Rom fixed his replicator. And he says Rom is an idiot. Is Rom an idiot?
If Odo says it, I'm going to agree.
Okay, noted.
Well, he doesn't have anything to gain to just insult people.
He is Quark's brother. If you were very, very attentive, you could have worked that out already. Shall I explain how you could have worked that out?
They're the only Ferengi on the ship?
What? How does that mean they're brothers?
It doesn't, but I'm just throwing something out there.
No, in Premiere at the start, Nog and another guy are looting from a shop, and then Quark says it's my brother's boy. And then in the episode where Nog goes to school, Keiko is talking to Rom, who is Nog's father, thus Rom is Quark's brother.
Okay, I knew all that. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Oh, right, yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
So Kira is a pretty good kidnapper.
It's also very, very easy to kidnap people. The computer doesn't seem to have any moral problems with that.
Yeah, there are no safety measures to just stop people from kidnapping like mad?
Well, I guess not.
I guess they just depend on moral code.
Yeah, it must be really hard to solve crimes. Like if someone gets beamed out, they're like, oh, well, yeah, they're gone now. Kira did do a good job of basically saving everyone's life.
Yeah, this was all thanks to Kira and Odo. Without them, this would have been the final episode.
No, it would have turned into Odo and the Ferengi.
I would watch that show.
Yeah, it would be good. It might even be slightly better at this point to what we have.
The Adventures of Odo and Quark.
Yeah.
But if everyone died and it was just Odo and Quark, how would that work? He doesn't really have to listen to Odo anymore.
Well, if everyone died, it would be a really, really incredibly serious sort of diplomatic and humanitarian issue. And I don't think Odo would still have such a raging justice for, like, locking up Quark.
Maybe. He's determined.
Oh, thousands of people died, but Quark, you better not pinch anything.
Yeah, he's been chasing after Quark for how many years now?
Well, they said the station was built 18 years ago.
Yeah, and he said he wasn't head of security yet.
So, I don't know, 15 years or something. I liked it when Quark hacked his computer in the middle of his bar in front of everyone.
No one was in there, though.
I guess. Well, he's talking to Odo, then Odo walks out the door, and he just turns around and is like, okay, let's hack. I mean, I'm assuming that is not allowed. Maybe it is allowed. I don't know.
It was like a little mini game in a video game, like where you have to hack something.
Oh, put this combination of cylinders into the slots.
I thought it was weird they knew exactly when the ship would blow up.
Yes, and it was always a round number of seconds and or minutes.
Yeah. You would think that would be a really volatile situation, and it could go between a range, maybe? Not an exact, you have 10 seconds!
Well, maybe the warp engines are designed to explode at a very, very specific temperature.
That would be convenient.
Like, it's just standard. They could build them stronger, but then that would make these sort of situations less tense. Or
Your
more
standard
tense.
explosion threshold.
Yeah, it's not that it might explode past that, it's that it must explode at a certain temperature.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
So that they can always accurately predict when it will explode, thus making life or death situations have that air of certainty, bringing a calmness to them.
That works for me. So maybe that countdown is to the minimum, where that's the possibly...
the flashpoint.
Yeah, okay.
You would think if they could detect so accurately when it would explode, then the ship itself would be able to detect that and have some sort of failsafe.
You're talking about the ship that just logs door openings.
Well, I don't know if his ship logged door openings. That was Deep Space Nine. For all I know, his ship could just have logged how often someone turned on the windscreen wipers.
It had some measures on it. Odo read something.
Did he?
Yeah, I forgot what he was talking about. Something failed on the ship.
The fire control systems.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
It's the most roundabout way of saying it's on fire. Despite it being a bit ropey, I did really like this episode. I think the Quark in charge made it fun.
Yeah, just that one moment was worth it. But, so what are your criticisms?
Well, we've already covered pretty much everything.
Aw. I was hoping for an official list.
What, you want worse than they didn't even attempt to prevent infection?
That's pretty bad, yeah.
Do you have a quote from the episode to bring closure to this podcast?
I do. As always, today's is strike limits, flame the dark true salt.
Oh, you're just choosing rubbish.
It's not rubbish. Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, it had meaning to someone.
See, I thought this would be an O'Brien episode, when they diagnosed him and they said that he's incapable of expressing himself. So I thought, oh, this is about how O'Brien is the strong silent type and he can't.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, I thought it was a metaphor, and then it wasn't at all.
Yeah, he was not in the rest of the episode until the end when Cisco shouted at him some more. And everyone just laughed and went, oh, it's back to normal. We're all abusing O'Brien again.
Yeah, I know they played that up for laughs, but that just came off as sheer abuse. It made me sad.
Cisco literally just yells, O'Brien!
Yeah.
O'Brien!
All right. I'm going to end this right now.
That seems like a good idea.